given all I had now. But you, Amy, you've got plenty more to give. So give. I will.
I did know. Well, they said, she might possibly die, which I think was their way of going, come and do the show and maybe it'll be longer. But I think in the back of their heads, they always knew that, it was a 1-season arc and was appropriate that way. And also I think it was the first episode, there was a flashback to Joan telling Amy that she had a very serious illness that very likely could turn into leukemia. So I knew we were heading that way.
Even while she's dying, Joan insists on helping out during the lockdown at Westside. I expect nothing less from her, of course.
Yeah, of course.
How much of that is like who she is, and how much is it also that she just wants that distraction from what's happening to her?
I think it's who she is, because I think she doesn't need to be distracted from who she is. I think she's accepted it, and I think it's... To tell you the truth, I think it's kind of a mitzvah. She's using this idea of, I'm very aware that my time is limited, a matter of months possibly, that she uses it as a springboard to do things. I think it's liberating, and it's more rocket fuel than kind of something to be avoided. Isn't that great writing? That's the writers and Hank Steinberg and Barbie Kligman. It's a fantastic twist they did that, yes, it's a huge surgery on Amy. It saves her life and ultimately costs Joan her life. It's a wonderful sort of, I don't know, it's kind of a mythic sort of Greek tragedy kind of ending. Well, you have to understand, of course, we were in hazmat suits, which were the real hazmat suits, God bless them, which meant that you have this pack on with a fan in the back. So in your helmet, you're hearing zzzz. So there's me and the great Blair Underwood and the wonderful Patrick Walker doing this intense surgery. And you're kind of going, what did you say? Huh? And you'd have to read lips to make sure you weren't stepping on their lines. So it was more technical than emotional.
I was going to say, I wish we got more with you and Blair Underwood, because that would have been great if we had done something.
I know. Isn't he a great addition? I was talking to someone and they went, man, he comes in and has such great swagger, and he has that unbelievably beautiful voice as well as that unbelievably beautiful face. Basically, I hate that guy. But he's a wonderful addition. Yeah, another beautifully written scene by Hank and Barbie. It was very gentle and alluded to. Amy wakes up out of her deep surgery in a lot of pain, and she wants a rundown of what she's missed. And I give it to her, and then Joan gets a little dizzy, and she says, what did you do? And it's a lovely line. She says, I've given all I had to give now, Amy, but you've got a lot more to give, so give. It's a beautiful farewell. I love that scene. Yeah, I hope I acted it okay, but I love the writing of it, I could say. It becomes personal, but Joan's final charge to Amy is, go do what you were put on this earth to do, which is to be a doctor, and it's one of the highest callings you can have. So it is a personal moment about the professional. Yeah, you're really good. Boy, you know your ins and outs. No, it's nothing she could imagine. I mean, she came into Westside going, I have a disease. I would like to spend my last remaining time making this hospital one of the best in the world, making these doctors and everyone who works here the best they can be. And she never thought that she would be back with family, that, I think she lost her marriage and she thought she lost her son, but it comes back in the end, which is sweet.
Yeah, because it feels like she would have imagined her final moments being like alone at the hospital or alone at home, right?
Yes. I think she's a lone adventurer, which is wonderful. And a lot of men get to be lone adventurers and women don't. So God bless her for doing that. I mean, I think the statistic is 20 to 30% of the medical profession are women, and it's even smaller, that percentage of women who actually lead hospitals or on the board or chiefs of the IM like Joan is. So I love that she was a trailblazer, but it does, as men have experienced, it comes with a cost. Yeah, it's one of those things that my son Ethan, played brilliantly by Connor McMahon, wonderful Canadian actor. We met 5 minutes before, and then we did that scene where we hugged at the right when he gets out of the elevator. And I gave him this hug, and I went, oh, he's actually right here. You can feel it with an actor when they're actually right there. And he showed up for every scene 100%. And that's all, unfortunately, part of the iceberg that you don't see of the pain that's, I mean, they touch on it a little bit, but the pain that's gone before. And when you have a parent that's dedicated to their profession, they can't, it costs them sometimes in the family department. So it's, I think every scene had to be emotional and fraught because that's the part of their relationship we were seeing.
And then it's so good that it builds up to like her being able to be with them at the end too.
Yeah, it was a lovely moment when she's sort of lying, she's in hospice and Ethan is holding her hand, and that's how she's going to go out, which is how I hope that we all get to go out, surrounded by loved ones.
Joan says that it's unethical to pick who to save, so they put the names in the hat when it comes to the antiviral. But how tempted was she to go with Gina and give it to Amy and who they wanted?
Oh my gosh, how much did Joan want to put her finger on the scale? I think it took all her moral fortitude to go, wait a second, I'm a doctor first and a friend and a mentor second. But, you know, as I worked on it with my husband, and I was like, you know, it doesn't exactly make sense, because if you save Amy, she's going to save hundreds, if not thousands, throughout her career. So had it been me, I would have put my finger on the scale, which is probably why I'm not a doctor. Not even a little. I can't believe that guy is still in the hospital. And as you can tell, I'm a little hot about it. No, I mean, he's a total snake and self-serving. No, he's awful. Can't stand that guy. Gosh, is there anything she would have done different? That's a great question. You know, if anything, I think Joan might have come down a little harder on Amy's behavior. I mean, she's doing all these treatments to chase her memory. She's having an affair with an underling. Well, actually, he's not an underling. She's having an affair with her boss, which would have not flown with HR. She's also sort of playing around with Michael, that I think she would have come down and gone, all these things put the hospital at jeopardy and your career at jeopardy. Come on. Now, unfortunately, Joan's point of view does not make good television, and not very much drama. So it's good that Joan didn't dictate the way the scripts went. Well, I don't know. I think like any good mentor, that there's a certain point where you go, hands off, it's up to you now. She saved her life, thanks to her and also Dr. Grant, but she saved her life and now it's up to her. And I think Joan hopes she picks the right path. I mean, that's why the last line is charging her. You have a lot more to give, Amy, so give. As opposed to sleep around, Amy. She didn't say, go sleep around, Amy. Go find someone else to sleep with. Although that's probably what's going to happen.
I was going to say, well, we know that she and Blair Underwood's character have a history now, too, that needs to be delved into.
Again, I really love that. I love that there is a female doctor in her 50s at the center of this show who has a robust love life and is figuring out between many men, because that is usually the real estate reserved for men. Well, you know, I don't know Ben that well. But I realize there are very big camps on both sides. I remember speaking to a lot of people in Canada who were like, Team Jake, of course, Team Jake. I personally am on Team Michael. I guess so. You'd have to talk to Barbie and Hank about that. We've talked about the Joan coming back and being the ghost that haunts the halls of West Side. Which would be hilarious.
Just chiming in from the corner, giving
Yeah,
advice.
exactly. Sitting in, going, you should connect those two things because I think that's going to work in the operating room.
And judging Michael for how he's taking over for her.
That's right. This is how you decorated your office? I will remember Joan as the iconoclast that I signed up for, as someone who's lighter, has a little more of a 10,000 foot view, so can hold things lighter and possibly have a little more levity in the hospital, and someone who doesn't mince words because she doesn't care if she's liked, which is another gift of knowing you're going to die soon. And how do I want her to be remembered? I want her to be remembered as Amy's champion.